Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brandon again. Today I want to talk about the Ivanko 2.5 kg COCs, or COCs as I like to call them. And I'm really going to struggle this video, not with the COC and saying COCs, but more of just saying Ivanko, just because I've always thought to myself that it's Ivanko. In fact, when I did my review on their plates, comparing it to the Rogue calibrated plates, I said Ivanko a lot of times. No one really said anything to me, but with doing a little bit of research for this particular video and pulling up Ivanko's YouTube channel, there's a couple of old advertisements from them where they in fact say Ivanko.
Ivanko introduces our new Easy Lift Plate, a patented 7-opening round design offering...
And it's interesting because the company itself was founded by someone named Ivan, so why not Ivanko? So that's just a little bit of a tangent, but Ivanko 2.5 kg COCs, which stands for Compression Ring Olympic Collars. So these are collars that you would probably see more than likely in a powerlifting competition. Now, I originally got these collars because as part of my Ivanko set that I bought, I wanted to make sure that I had as most of a legit setup as I could when it came to powerlifting, because I wanted to practice how I play. And I say that now fully aware that I'm standing in what is pretty much a competition combo rack as well. So I've really made that move for the most part. But that being said, if you've been watching any of my training videos over the past couple of years, you would probably hardly ever see these competition collars on. Now, before we get into why, let me just tell you a little bit about them. As I mentioned, they're from Ivanko, who is one of the probably most well-known names when it comes to strength equipment, especially powerlifting. As part of that, as the name implies, they're compression ring collars. So the goal for these collars is a couple things. Number one, since they're competition grade, they're really calibrated to weigh a specific amount. That way, if you're using them in competition and you're not just using any Joe Schmo collars, which you don't know what the weight is, these collars as a pair weigh 5 kg or just about 11 pounds. So you can always ensure that you're working with what you should be working with. As part of that, they're really well designed too. They're compression ring collars, so they stay on the bar really well, at least initially. There's knurl on the actual spinning lock part of the collar, which is really nice. Ivanko is stamped on the actual other part of the spin lock, and they're plated in chrome, and everything is fully machined. So these are legit, nice, heavy-duty collars, if you couldn't tell by the fact, again, that they weigh roughly around 11 pounds. Now, that being said, they are definitely not cheap. So for a pair on average, when you factor in shipping, they're going to cost you around $150. Now, this may come to a shock to many of you, especially if you're using the normal spring collars that you might find in a gym, or even if you're using something like Lockjaw or ProLocks or OSO collars. There's a lot of other collars out there that do a very good job, but again, not most of them are fully machined, plated in chrome, or calibrated to weigh a specific amount. So that's why you don't see those oftentimes in competition. Now, as part of that, I said even though I've owned these for quite some time, they are very nice. I did have an issue upon first receiving them. So one of the collars I had, the chrome plating, was actually not put on very well as it started to flake and peel off, as you guys can probably see right here in this picture. I will say that Ivanko was really good about replacing this and getting me out a new replacement one as soon as they could, and they let me keep the old one as well. So now I have 3 of these collars, but I could never really use them all at the same time, unless things got really weird down here. That being said, though, why don't I use them in training? And I think it really is back to the design. And it's not to say that the design on these isn't great, because as I mentioned, the build quality is really high. You can get a really tight fit when you're using plates on here, and you know exactly what the weight is. The problem that I found, though, is when you're doing things with multiple reps, especially like deadlifts, and you tend to drop the bar, or at least kind of just control the descent down, the impact on the floor actually ends up making these collars move some. Now, by design, they shouldn't ever be used this way because, again, they're competition-style collars. In a competition, you're only doing a single rep. After that, the spotters and loaders would more than likely either change the weight or retighten the collars between each individual rep, so that would never be an issue. But here in the basement, when I'm training and doing multiple reps of things, it does tend to get in the way where the collars end up getting loose and the plates tend to shift around a bit, which I don't like, especially considering the fact that in order to get these tight, there's a 2 tightening step process, and I am extremely lazy, as evident by the fact that it's taken me several years to review these collars, where I would just rather use my other collars that I have that are easy on, easy off, and actually do a little bit of a better job in between reps as they're coated with rubber padding on the inside. So I'll probably do a review on those at some point as well. But as far as these collars go, in addition to that, the fact that I don't find that they're very good for home training when you're doing with reps, as mentioned before, again, you really have to factor in the price here at around $150. They're just way overkill for anyone in the home gym environment. But again, being my channel and the fact fact that I've never been shy to spend money on a lot of this equipment. One of the reasons I picked them up is because, again, I wanted to have a competition style environment here in my basement. But that being said, even though they're really nice and great for competition, they're terrible for home use and especially multi-rep use, so I wouldn't recommend them in that regard. But if you're interested, there's some info about them. If you have any questions that I missed out, let me know in the comment section below. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next video.